one station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, John Cass and Lauren Cohn.
89 WPLS.
Well, we have cold warriors. We have hot warriors. And
Cyber warriors.
What is
Cyber.
that? Cyber warriors. Why is that, Lauren?
Because they're attacking us over the internet, John. This is a new crazy story.
Well, the story today coming out, the Pentagon Cyber Command will create 13 offensive cyber teams by 2015 to help defend the nation against major computer attacks from abroad. According to General Keith Alexander, they call it defend, but they're creating offensive cyber teams.
Right. And this is
so whatever.
The
right?
latest thing is that there's this apparent site called the Secret Files, and they claim to reveal everything from Michelle Obama's personal files, records, Social Security, to celebrities, Kim Kardashian, what she pays for her car lease, what Ashton Kutcher's American Express bill is, and apparently...
What does he pay, like what he bought?
Yeah.
Like things...
Paris Hilton's credit score, which I would imagine is pretty low.
Doesn't she pay in gold bullion? Yeah.
She's the one who's always getting in trouble.
She pays in personality, doesn't
right,
she?
exactly.
Yeah.
She just inherited
a
fortune
vapid
and
blonde.
lets it go out the window. But apparently, this website originated in Russia. The internet suffix of the site's web address was originally posted from the Soviet Union, but
that's different, right? There's two.
Yeah.
It could be somebody else putting it on the Soviets.
It could be a fraud.
Or it could be the Soviets.
It could be fraud, and it's out there. But apparently, we're going to hear more from Catherine Herridge, who's coming up a little bit later, as to exactly if this stuff is really, the Social Security number is really all this personal information, which is scary if that's true.
If they could hack into our First Lady's bank accounts or credit reports, what are they going to find out? Like what kind of arm oil she actually uses to make those arms glossy, or maybe
it's the Social Security number. I think you'd be the most worried about.
I'd like to know how did that
somebody did identity fraud and decided to be Michelle Obama.
Can they go all the way back to when she was a lawyer and then she stopped practicing law for something? I don't know why.
Who knows?
And then the Tony Rezko land, which I hear is for sale now, next to the house that they never go to. They can find anything out if they want, right?
Right. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Britney Spears along this list, which would be kind of fun for us, even Donald Trump, to find out some of the details.
Well, Catherine Herridge from Fox News will be on with us to talk about that. And the president is going to be in Illinois this week.
Yeah, he comes in Friday.
But he's then planning to go to Israel.
On March 20th. He's got a trip planned to Israel, and Hamas is warning the president, basically, we don't need you in an area that's volatile with the Palestinian Authority, so that if you come, it's a declaration of war. So let's have a third, what they call intifada or uprising. So,
can't these hackers do something that we really want them to do? Like find out like certain records that maybe the president's keeping secret?
What? Give us different useful information rather than what people's credit scores are. Yeah, that's a good point.
Can you just call up those papers he wrote, when he was in graduate school or
wasn't it Trump petitioning him all that time for his birth certificate? Did he ever give up the birth certificate?
I don't know. I don't know what that deal is. What is
Donald Trump?
If Donald Trump of all people, okay? I don't know what if you pull Donald Trump's massive hair back, it's really one. You know this about Donald Trump. It's really one strand of hair.
Right. I know. I've seen him in person. It's very scary. It grows out the back of his head, and it's wound around and fluffed up. But watch out, because if you're not nice to Donald Trump, he will fire you.
That's pathetic. But
you know what about Donald Trump, though? I can imagine if these hackers are going in because they want to find scoop on him, and they'll find that he has no money. He just leverages all his hotels and his real estate property one against the other. And I think the guy's really technically broke, right?
He's just a big bluffer?
Big bluffer with bad hair.
I don't know. And not only was our First Lady, our lovely First Lady with the beautiful arms, I'm sure she goes to church like that with the arms showing, but also the New York Times was attacked.
Well, then there you go. We need to stand up.
New York Times, my liberal friends New York Times claims Chinese hackers hijacked its system. This was a few weeks ago.
And, I guess they get information on Biden, too, and on phone numbers. And
what do they get on Biden? Like
how he has no money, how he's broke, and how he takes the train to work. And
yeah, he takes a private train car to work, and he has like 5,000 shotguns for his wife. Right. Honey, use a shotgun.
But imagine if they
when he says stupid things like that, and people just know, they go, "Oh, he's stupid."
Yeah,
right. Let him go.
It's the Bidenisms. You just get used to it. It creates fun for us in the media.
It's kind of like when Daley used to say nonsense. After a while, people were like, "What Chinatown? What Chinatown? I don't know what you're talking about."
I have a story about Daley. I was covering a press conference once. Do you remember this many, many years ago when we had so many heat-related deaths in the city?
Yeah,
so Mayor Daley came out and held a press conference. I was standing next to Andy Shaw at the time, who's now the president of the VGA.
Yeah, and you guys were on together, right?
And Daley said, everybody needs to shut down their air conditioner for a certain period of time to save, because all these, utility outlets were blowing, and we're having this problem. So I asked the question, you'll laugh at me. So, Mr. Daley, are you and your wife going to shut your air conditioning off midday like everybody else in Chicago? He got so red in the face and so mad at me and said, well, you know what, Lauren? I haven't called my wife to talk to her about it yet.
Really?
Andy Shaw looked at me, kind of nudging me. I can't believe you asked that question.
Well, there's a question from Tom in South Holland. I hope the mayor, please put your air conditioning on when it's hot. Tom, what is going on with these cyber attacks on the United States, Tom?
Morning, John and Lauren. How you doing today?
Hi, Tom.
Buddy.
You kind of touched on it there earlier. As I told your screener, I said they're going to spend thousands and thousands, hundreds, who knows how much they're going to spend with all these people running around trying to figure out how to keep the cyber attackers. All they have to do is go to Occidental College and the other places old Barack Obama went and find out how they're protecting his records, because nobody seems to be able to hack into that. Hey, the hackers out there, you want to really make a mark for yourself? Get his records. I mean, you're going to be on the front page of every newspaper in the nation if you can do that. And Lauren, you were talking about the air conditioner and turning them off and on. We went to Italy about 4 years ago. Little musty and stale in the room, although it was only the end of May, middle of May, roughly, and went downstairs, and I said, hey, we cannot get the air conditioner going. Would you please send somebody up to turn it on? He says, you'd like to see me go to jail, would you? And I said, excuse me? He says, the government says this is how bad it gets. This is what's coming here. Here's Italy. If you turn your air conditioner on before June 1st or after August 31st, and they catch you, which they do because they're watching constantly, you are arrested. You're just not given a ticket. They take you down to the station, book you, and fine you, and then release you.
Don't give our state any ideas on what to do to fine us now.
Good one, Laura.
Because we need revenue in Illinois. Now they're all going to come after us if the air conditioning's on.
I'd put up with that, Tom, if we could get a decent plate of veal salt and vodka, which I love.
And you can siesta and have your vino sitting out in the piazza,
That's
right?
later after the show when I'm pretending not to do the column. John Cass, Lauren Cohn, traffic and weather first on the fives with Ryan Burrow. Later on, we'll be checking in Rome on the selection of the Pope. But right now, on the phone, we have Catherine Herridge, the national security reporter for Fox News, and one of my actual favorite national security.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you.
So tell us about these cyber attacks, Catherine.
Well, it's where to begin. I think sort of the juiciest story is the posting of this confidential information of 17 high-profile individuals, including the FBI director and apparently the First Lady, Michelle Obama. Now this is being actively investigated. At first, when the story broke, it almost seemed like it may be, a bit of a joke.
Right.
But it's real, and it seems to be linked to Russia. Russia, Iran, and China are what they call nation states that sponsor cyber attacks or cyber espionage. In this particular case, it may be more embarrassing than anything else, and meant to send a statement. Like a statement
like "Don't support Syrian rebels."
Well, I don't want to pretend to read the minds of these people, but what it shows is that even if you are an extremely powerful person in the United States who's involved in law enforcement, like the FBI director, or also the police chief in Los Angeles, or the wife of the president of the United States, you too can be targeted. And in this case, it seems that credit reports, Social Security numbers, everything you would need to steal these people's identities was put up there.
Or if you're a very important person like Kim Kardashian.
I can't. Yeah. There's no accounting for taste.
What did they put on? What did they post on Kardashian's file? Her IQ.
Like I said, there's no accounting for taste, and it's interesting how they perceive the important and powerful in this country.
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher's American Express bill because he's on their payroll to do all of the commercials.
But it is a message, isn't it, Catherine? It's like we can get to you, we can embarrass you.
That's exactly right. It's a statement. It's a message. It's meant to taunt, in effect, and also to intimidate, because we'll say cyber warfare, which is the new term here in Washington, is not just about stealing information or disrupting networks. It's also a tool of intimidation. It's a psychological tool, if you will.
So what about our big offensive?
Well, what we learned here in Washington in the last couple of days of hearings on Capitol Hill, we had the top intelligence officials testifying, and what they said for the first time publicly is that the cyber threat has now eclipsed the threat from terrorism. And that's not to say that the threat of terrorism has in some way been minimized. In fact, Al-Qaeda, as we used to know it, has become more diversified, and the threat has as well. We're not here to talk about North Africa and West Africa and Yemen, but this is where the threat has really found a new home. But cyber has eclipsed that, and it really seems to be on the uptick. And I think one of the most important statements that was made is that we are now developing what they call an offensive capability, which means that if we're experiencing a major cyber event in this country, we will respond with military-type teams whose job it is to launch cyber attacks in response.
That is, and it's couched at least on some of the wire service reports in the defensive language. So it's like, we will defend against cyber attacks by having offensive teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So have we, as the United States, or have we ever had an offensive foray into someone else's?
I would argue that what happened on Capitol Hill this week was just a public confirmation of what really has been known privately, which is that the U.S. does have an offensive capability. And while the U.S. government has denied publicly any role in the Stuxnet virus in Iran, that is largely seen as an American operation that was successful in disrupting Iran's nuclear program. In effect, what that virus did is it knew so much about the centrifuges, it caused them to sort of spin at this out-of-control speed, which damaged them. So it took over the system. So,
yes, it is if you apply the reasonable man test, the reasonable man watching Fox News and your reports might conclude that. And
yes, that's right. And you know what happened what happened with Iran's nuclear program was the equivalent of really dropping a bomb on that facility because of the damage that was done. So we're going to have to start to have a public discussion about these new rules of warfare and also engagement.
I hope you come back to talk about that with us, Catherine.
Thank you very much for having me. I always enjoy the conversation.
Catherine Herridge, Fox News, National Security Reporter.
And we want to know about Britney Spears' credit report, by the way.
You don't ask Catherine Herridge that. She's serious. Okay.
She's serious.
Thanks, Catherine. John Cass, Lauren Cohn. We're back after this.
89 WLS.
Thursday morning with Bruce Wolf and Dan Proft on 89 WLS. Larry Kudlow on the era of compromise.
And do women make better executives?
That's Thursday morning. Bruce Wolf, Dan Proft, 89 WLS.
Lauren, how about we take a call from Andy?
Sounds good.
Andy.
Did either one of you see in the last day there was an article on some of the conservative websites, the big boys? Only 30% of the population, U.S. population, has confidence or believes the U.S. government, meaning that 70% of us don't, and I fall in that because I'm thinking that the U.S. government is putting this out so that now they can go ahead and say maybe hit 5 or 6 conservatives across the country and then say that that came from a foreign land. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you don't want to. You know what Thomas Pynchon said, great writer. You can Proverbs for paranoids. You can tickle the servants, but never touch the master. Mm-hmm. But don't start thinking that way, because Andy, you could lose your mind. I'd suggest everyone watch The Americans on FX, because that's a freaky show.
Speaking of losing your mind, John, technology's turning on us. Gee, there's a surprise, right? What happens when you go to a car lot and you click these days, you use your key fob to find your car, guess what? Your car might not be there.
There's like some kind of killer car parking lot in the south suburbs where you can't start your car and it gets towed.
Yeah, technology's turning on us. I'm scared. And you know who else was scared? Did you hear about that golfer? Remember we talked about in Florida, the sinkholes? Did you hear about that golfer who was on the 14th hole and turned around? The next thing you know, he was swallowed into the ground?
Was Janet Napolitano with
Napolitano's going to help us pay for cyber attacks because she's spending all that other money on ammo and tankers.
So we'll have all that for you later. John Cass with Lauren Cohn. Right now it's news with Ryan Burrow. It is 10:30.
You've got mail.